Understand, no one is cut from a different cloth. What one man can do, another can do. You might think to yourself, like, I'm not strong enough to stop smoking weed. I'm just too addicted to weed. I can't stop. And that might be true right now, but we're all in the process of becoming. So you can become that person who doesn't need weed anymore. What up guys, this is going to be a follow-up video to my last video that I made, which is why I stopped smoking weed. This video is going to be how to stop smoking weed, or like 4 tips on how to stop smoking weed, because I got a lot of good comments from my last video. It did pretty good. Like, I was surprised how many people liked that video because it was kind of just off the top of the dome, just rambling. But this one's a little bit more structured. I have 4 tips I wrote down because this is more for maybe you watched the last video and you got amped and ready to stop smoking weed, and maybe you stumble across some other video and already motivated to stop, but you're having trouble stopping. And as someone who stopped smoking weed 3 months ago, I've actually haven't even gotten the urge to smoke, not even once since then. Like 3 months ago I stopped. I don't even feel the urge. I've been around people smoking, even the smell of it, which used to trigger me, I don't even want to smoke. I've quit many things. I've had many addictions in my life, and so weed is just another one of those things. It was my last thing that I've quit. I've quit vaping, I've quit porn and masturbation, I've quit all types of negative thought patterns, you know. It's something, and now just recently I've quit weed. I feel like it's now ingrained into who I am, and that's one of the points that I'm gonna get to. Tip number 1, notice and being aware of the feelings in your body. So everyone knows awareness has to precede change. You can't change something that you're not aware of. Maybe right now you're aware that you want to stop smoking, which is a great first step. A lot of people don't even get to the step of being aware that they are addicted, you know. So it's great that you are on that first step of awareness of realizing your relationship to weed might be dysfunctional and you want to change. That's cool, but now you have to start becoming aware of the feelings in your body. Like, notice the feelings of when you want to smoke. What are those situations that trigger you, that lead you to want to smoke? What is that feeling inside your body that wants to smoke weed? You know, it's a physical feeling that you can feel. It could be subtle for some people, maybe it's stronger in others. For example, is there a specific time of day that you usually ball up? Is there a certain environment that you usually smoke weed at, or you know, friends that you hang out with? For me, it would almost always be during sunsets, because for me it was like a ritual. When I smoke alone, it would be when I would go out for a walk during the sunset and smoke weed. You know, maybe it would also be with my friends. So there would always be these nights where at night we would go smoke weed, you know, from a bong. Back in high school, it would be with a certain group of friends that I had, stoner friends, and basically all we would do was smoke weed. So every time after school, we'd hang out, smoke weed. So it's just being aware of those feelings in your body when you want to smoke. Notice that time. When that time comes, maybe it's sunset and you usually smoke weed, and you really feel the urge to smoke weed. Feel that is the time that you have to be fully in your body and as present as you can as to what that sensation is, because that sensation will pass. Believe it or not, as strong as that feeling is, it will pass. You just gotta give it a minute. And so this is connected to my second point, which is take tea breaks, take tolerance breaks. That's what we call it, which is basically, we used to call it that because we would take maybe like a week from smoking weed, and then it would reset our tolerance so that we can kind of use less weed to get more high, essentially. But I'm saying to use tea breaks as in just use periods of time to gradually stop smoking. For me, I didn't completely quit cold turkey. I've had many tea breaks before I eventually quit. For me, it was like, maybe I would take a month off, maybe I would take a couple weeks off. The longest I took was like around last year. I took 3 or 4 months of not smoking weed. It was around that time I already knew that smoking weed wasn't good for me, and that I was depending on it, and that it was changing my brain. So I was already kind of wanting to quit. So I was just taking longer tea breaks. If you're starting out and you're heavily addicted to weed, I would recommend probably just taking it gradually, because it'll take some time to really rewire this new identity of not being a smoker. You might need to go a few weeks of just not smoking to first realize what it's like to just go without smoking. I've heard a lot of reports of people who are heavy smokers who find it so hard to quit because it's hard to sleep, it's hard to eat, they feel sick. you know? So this period of taking tea breaks is just for your body to adjust to not smoking. And while you're doing these tea breaks I would say maybe you could try to aim for like a month of not smoking weed. If you're heavily addicted, start by taking 2 weeks of not smoking. So during those 2 weeks, just notice the feelings in your body when you want to smoke. The reason I recommend longer breaks is because it's usually the first week that's the hardest. You'll find that it's the first few days and maybe first week where you get the most intense urges to smoke because it's still part of your habit. So notice during those times, what is that sensation in your body that really wants to smoke weed? Where do you feel it exactly in your body? What emotions are you feeling? What kind of thoughts are you having? Well, how are you rationalizing to yourself why you want to smoke weed? Notice all those things. In what areas do you want to feel numb? That's ultimately what it is. When you really want to smoke weed, I find that there's some part that just wants to be numb, whether that's your thinking mind or your logical mind, or maybe something in your emotions you want to numb out because you can't just let go and be loose, and you need weed, for example, or you can't be in a certain state without weed. So there's something you're trying to numb, right? Or there's something that you're trying to achieve. So feel that, fully feel that. And that's why I say take a break. Take that long break, examine it in your life where you want to stop smoking weed, and just, feel it out for yourself. This third tip is more of an environmental change, and it's to stop hanging around with your stoner friends. This one might be the hardest one for a lot of people because it's our personal relationships that mean so much to humans, like human connection. And so when it means to cut off someone who you may be your best friends with, it can be very fucking hard. But here's the thing, if you guys are just friends because of this need to smoke, are you really friends? If the only thing you guys can do together is smoke weed, does that mean you're really friends? Can you just hang out and have fun with your friends? If you can't, that should be a signpost of things. It should be the warning lights of something that you should be aware of. Like, why is it that I need to smoke to just go out to the grocery store or to just go out and have fun with my friends? Why? Now, it's okay if your friends smoke weed. Look, essentially all my friends smoke weed. Almost all my friends smoke weed. I don't cut them out of my life. The people that I've cut from my life though, and I don't even like using that word because it sounds so hard, but the people that I've just grown apart from were the type of friends who all we did was smoke weed. I mentioned to you previously that I had a friend group in high school where we would just smoke weed. They were my stoner friends. Basically, all we literally did was I would go to their house and we'd smoke weed, or we'd go to the forest and ball up. That's the main activity we did. We never just hung out, and just hanged out to to the mall or played basketball. We never just did that. We had to just smoke weed. And I grew apart from them over time a few years ago. So this happened naturally on my own. But if you're someone who still has that group, that friend group, that all you guys do is smoke weed and that's it, I would highly consider taking a break from that. See what that's like. And you might find that very, very hard. And I understand if you value that over smoking weed, and maybe you're not ready to give up smoking weed yet, and that's fine. That's fine. We are all on our journey. I don't think that you have to quit smoking weed yet. If you feel like you need that friend group, if that's more important to you than having a sober state of mind and fulfilling your potential at the moment, that's fine. I'm not forcing that onto you. But this video is meant for those who are serious about quitting weed, and maybe you value that more than some friends that are holding you to your current reality and current identity. If you have that friend group that all you do is smoke weed, you can't quit smoking weed and still hang out with that friends. I'm sorry, it's not possible. You can't have the best of both worlds. Something has to change, because eventually your environment will always pull you back. It doesn't matter how good your diet is. If you're always stocking your fridge and your kitchen with bad food, you're eventually gonna cave in and eat it. It's about changing your environment, especially at the start of a habit. You need to change your environment because then you can gain momentum. So maybe right now you cut off all your friends that all you do is smoke weed. But after you've gotten to this point where I would say I'm at, where I don't feel the need to smoke weed, I could probably reintegrate with those friends and find something else to do with them. you know, and not feel pulled to smoke weed. I can be around all my friends that are smoking weed. I'm not gonna feel the need to smoke weed because I made this commitment to myself that I'll get to in my next point. And so the last point is to just make the decision, to just quit. Make the decision that I am done. This is it. I'm not going back. Okay? And this might be easier if you have the reasons. So I recommended on my last video to watch the Andrew Huberman video where it talked about the effects of weed on the brain. This really helped me because it gave me even more reasons to quit. But if you're someone who's still on the fence, sometimes all you need is stronger, more compelling reasons. Right now, the cons don't outweigh the pros when it comes to smoking weed. Like, you're hanging out with friends, you're getting all these good feelings. It's not worth it to you. Again, I leveraged all these reasons to myself on why I stopped smoking weed. I had a spiritual component to it. Like I mentioned in my last video, I felt like I was committing mini suicide when I smoke weed. It sounds very dramatic, but guess what? This is part of my brainwashing, which you have to do because your brain is always rationalizing to yourself. You're lying to yourself all the time to be lazy, to be unconscious. You're always doing this. You're always rationalizing to yourself. So sometimes you have to brainwash yourself. So I tell myself, it's almost like I'm committing a mini suicide every time I'm smoking weed. Why? Because every time I smoke weed, I'm disconnecting from reality more and more. When I smoke weed, I'm lessening the impact I have onto the world. I'm lessening my impact that I can give. It's in my head all the ways that weed is holding me back. It's taking from my perception of reality. It's taking from my brain. I'm damaging my brain. I'm literally stunting my growth. When your arm is broken, you can be aware that, oh shit, my arm is broken. But when your brain is broken, you won't fucking know. Everyone says they have mental illness now. They have all these problems. Is that something that you're born with, or is this an environmental thing? Understand there are many genetic things, but why put your brain at risk by smoking weed all the time? It's literally damaging to your brain. Watch the Andrew Huberman video. And if that's not enough, whatever you can draw motivation from, use it. For me, I understood that I'm lessening my impact to the world, that I can give to the world. I'm disconnecting more and more from reality the more I smoke weed. I'm losing energy the more I smoke weed. Yes, I might get more energy right when I smoke, but the day after and weeks after of smoking weed, you get less energy. I literally noticed this in my body that when I go long periods without smoking, I would get this natural energy level and it's more stable. There's no ups and downs. I can keep this stable. I can reach my dreams. Understand, no one is cut from a different cloth. What one man can do, another can do. I can already hear the excuses that people have, the rationalizations. Oh, well, you can quit weed, but my situation is different. I've been smoking weed for this long. This is harder for me. Like, no, it's not. Or maybe it is harder for you, but guess what? You can fucking quit. What one man can do, another can do. Just admit to yourself that I'm not ready yet. And that's fine. You can admit to yourself, I'm not ready to quit smoking weed yet. But don't say that it's impossible. Don't say that you can't do it. Don't say that you're a failure if you don't quit smoking weed. Just acknowledge that you're not there yet. And then just work to get there. So you need the motivations to quit smoking weed. And that will come with, again, if you keep taking consistent tea breaks and you become aware of how weed is actually making you feel, you will naturally on your own drift away from it. You might start growing, shifting paradigms and start growing. Again, just like a lot of negative habits, you'll start growing apart. You'll start seeing the difference between someone who is always smoking weed and needs it versus someone who's thriving and doesn't need weed. You can physically see the energy levels of these people and be like, hey, I prefer to be like this. When I talk to someone who smokes weed all the time, you can hear it in their voice. You can see it in how their energy level. So that was a wake-up call for me. Like, that was a huge one, because even still, I'm still fighting back this kind of stoner voice that I have. And Andrew Huberman talked about in that video that your voice literally changes when you smoke weed all the time. There's so many things that are going on when you smoke weed that I was just like, this is a no-brainer, I have to quit. So that's one level, is to just get the motivation. Just quit. Quit smoking weed. Quit. Make the decision. To quit anything, all it takes is one decision and committing to it. The reason it's hard is because we don't fully commit. So our brain will start rationalizing and find ways to keep doing it. The reason why I haven't felt the urge one time since I quit smoking weed 3 months ago was because my brain knew. I deliberately made it so that I stopped smoking on my birthday because I wanted to make it meaningful that day that I stopped smoking. You don't have to wait till your birthday, but you just have to wait till the moment and make your last time smoking weed like a fucking moment. Take a trip out and maybe be by yourself, reflect, journal. Just take that last moment of getting high as your last time of smoking and just commit to it. The reason people falter all the time is because we don't fully commit. We tell ourselves, okay, this is the last time. This is the last time I smoke. I'm quitting after this. This is the last time. But you're not serious about it. And so it's so hard to keep that fucking momentum and to not fall back because you're not serious about it. So fucking get serious about it. Make the decision. Use this video as your sign that you are fucking done. You're above smoking weed. You don't need to smoke weed anymore. You're done with this shit. You're taking back your life. You're taking back your potential. You're gonna achieve your dreams. You're not gonna let anything hold you back anymore. You're gonna just look at your dreams and you're fucking gonna go for it. Get that bigger picture for your life and get it so fucking real. And then look at that picture of your life where if you don't stop smoking weed, where you will be. Make it fucking real for you. Go out somewhere and decide on the day you want to finally quit smoking weed. And then when you do it, be aware of the feeling that be just present with that. Like, this is my last time smoking weed. And just never do it again. And guess what? When you commit to that, I don't know what it is. There's no science to this. I'm only speaking anecdotally. But when I decided that I was done smoking weed, I was done. And my brain, it's almost like it knew and it stopped producing that urge to smoke weed. Even when I'm around my friends who smoke weed. Even when I'm around all this weed smoke. It's literally like a change in identity. You have to change your identity. You can't be the same person. You might think to yourself, like, I'm not strong enough to stop smoking weed. I'm just too addicted to weed. I can't stop. And that might be true right now. But we're all in the process of becoming. So you can become that person who doesn't need weed anymore. Time is gonna pass either way. So you're either gonna become a weaker, more addicted person, or you're gonna become a bigger person. You're gonna become someone who has more power, who has more will, who has a stronger hold on their consciousness, who is a bigger person, who has more trust in themselves, who has more belief in themselves. You can change your identity. We are all in a state of transformation. Because guess what? 10 years is going to pass whether you want it to or not. So you're going to get 10 years older. Either in 10 years you're going to still be addicted to weed and you're going to still have the same patterns going on, or you can make the decision that I want to change my future. I want to be someone different. So that's what this 5th step is. It's basically just admitting to yourself, I'm tired of this. I'm done with this. I'm going to decide to be someone else. I'm going to be a different person. I'm going to be someone who doesn't need any sort of substance, anything. Drugs, weed, alcohol, pornography, addiction, vaping, fucking anything. I don't need it. You can make the decision. I want to connect to my creator. I want to get high off life. I want to feel connected to God and nature. Or, you know, you might be atheist, but I want to be present in this lifetime. I want to be in control of my life, but have that bigger picture. Because I believe in you. I really, really believe in you that you can fucking quit. Because if I can do this, I'm not any fucking different. I'm not better than you. I'm not stronger than you. I'm just someone who, because I've quit other things in my life, I have more belief in myself that I can quit. Maybe you're someone who finds it very hard to quit something, video games, whatever, and you've never had much experience quitting, so you don't think that you can do it. But I'm here to tell you that you can. You have so much power beyond what you're capable of. You have so much internal will, because it's not just you. It's almost like this other energy that you can tap into. And you don't have to believe in that, but you can just understand that you're always in a state of becoming. Look to someone that you idolize. Do you think that they were just born like that? We are not born fucking superpowers. We're not born superhuman, but we can become almost like that superhuman. We can become transcended by just those daily actions, those daily fucking commitments that you make to yourself, those decisions that you make. Every day you make the decision, do I want to smoke today? Do I want to engage in my habits? Do I want to engage in addictions? Every day you make that decision. And 10 years from now, your life will look completely different if you make those decisions versus if you make another set of decisions. So just understand that. And I love you. I believe in you. You got this. If you need any help at all, Again, write in the comments. I try to like read and respond to all the comments that I can. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you, and I'll talk to you guys later.